bill by the hour, then I want the full hour. Years ago, I worked in the head office of a national corporation. Although we were all salaried employees, everyone had to keep a weekly timesheet. We had to account for everything we worked on so our department could bill the appropriate team or group for our time. This was a company-wide requirement, so it wasn't just a case of our leaders micromanaging. The least time you could log was a 15-minute increment. Every minute of every day couldn't be billed to other departments, so we had a code that was billed to our own team's budget. This was used for general tasks not specifically attached to any ongoing projects, like checking emails, status meeting your manager, training and development, and even filling in the timesheet. Management emphasized that we should use our team code as little as possible. I later learned that the less time billed to our team's code meant a bigger pool of bonus money for our whole team at the end of the year. One of the internal services that regularly billed our team's code was IT. Anytime we needed computer support, they'd send an agent who would troubleshoot and fix the problem. When the work was done, they'd get us to sign a work order so they could bill our team. No big deal. About a year after I joined the company, the IT department changed their billing protocols. While every other group in our company would bill you in 15-minute increments, IT decided that they'd bill in 1-hour increments. No idea how they sold that to the VPs. But no one objected. So, if IT only took 15 minutes to solve my issue, they'd still bill my team's code for 1 hour. It didn't take long for my bosses to notice that our team's code was being billed a lot more than it had in the previous months. But no one connected the dots and tied it to the new IT billing practices. Cue malicious compliance. Here's how my next encounter with the on-site IT agent went. All done. Please sign this invoice. Me. This invoice is for 1 hour's work. You were only here 15 minutes. New policy. Just sign it. Me. I'm sorry, I can't do that. I don't have time to argue. We're really busy and I have to move on to the next ticket ASAP. Tell you what, I won't bill you for this visit. But next time you'll have to sign regardless of how quickly we can solve your problem. This happened a few more times and I continued to object to any bill that didn't reflect the actual time spent on my issues. They kept agreeing to give me a free pass this time. After about the 4th or 5th time, the IT agent finally stood his ground. You have to sign this invoice. Me. I'll gladly sign it in 45 minutes. Once you've been here a full hour, feel free to pull up a chair and sit down. He was clearly frustrated, but he decided to call my bluff. He sat down. A minute later he pulled out his laptop and started working on something else. Me. What are you doing? Getting caught up on a few things while I wait out the hour. Me. Oh no. This is my time. You're not allowed to work on anything else for anyone else. What do you expect me to do? Just sit here and do nothing? Me. Yes. If you want me to sign that invoice, then you will sit there and do nothing until the hour is up. This guy was stubborn, so he did indeed sit there for the rest of my hour. I signed the invoice, and he went on his way. I shared this story with my colleagues, and they all decided to do the same the next time they needed IT support. This went on for about 1 week. Then IT changed their tune. They no longer asked anyone on my team to sign off on any invoice unless the job actually took 1 hour or longer. It turned out that they were generating so many billable hours doing this to every team across the company that dealing with our malicious compliance wasn't worth it. They chose to service our team for free rather than give up those other 45 minutes they could bill to 2 or 3 other departments at 1 hour each. That year our team saw nice bonuses when we had a massive surplus of funds in the team's budget. I heard the IT team made out like bandits on their bonuses, while many other teams saw little to nothing. The next year the whole internal billing system was overhauled. We didn't have to account for our time anymore, and IT stopped issuing anyone invoices. All billing was managed at a more senior level. Imagine the level of fucked a company must be to have different departments bill each other and have their bonuses ties into it. I worked on a help desk for a medical device manufacturer back in the 90s. We did the same thing, billing the department's cost center for however long it took our desktop support people to do their jobs. I was phone support, but once in a while I would have to go over and help someone with an application-related issue. Microsoft Office and house applications, that kind of thing. I worked mostly with the admin staff, and having been one for many years, there was a kindred spirit to be found. I made the mistake of telling one of them about how we bill their cost center for our time in 30-minute increments. I think she was not a stupid woman. Thereafter, when she called us over to help, she had 30 minutes of work for us to do. There was no sitting back and putting up our feet. She saved up all of the issues for her department and used up that time. She had my grudging respect. Reminds me of an old joke. A lawyer dies and goes to heaven. Saint Peter says he looks remarkably fit for someone who died of old age. Old age. I am only 36. Ah, I see the problem. We added up all your billable hours. Chef's kiss to that one. Nice work. Company I worked for had a similar situation. I worked in a profit center. Our time was billable to the minute in accordance with a customer service contract. We kept tight control on time billed to our projects. When internal departments billed to our projects, our profit was reduced. Every item being work by other departments had a unique cost code. One of the departments tried that 1-hour minimum billing rate. Unfortunately for them, one person was working multiple items for the same project and charged for 11 hours straight time on the first day. The project manager reviewed project billing in the accounting system and caught it on the morning of the second day. It was promptly escalated and ended by the third day, at least for our department. Accounting. How in the world did you guys bill other departments for 150% of your total staffing hours? I'll tell you if you let us get away with it. Accounting. Nah, I just want to do it too. I have worked in both the private sector and public sectors. Every time that timerding is implemented, it is soon terminated due to problems. When will they ever learn? Ferengi rule of acquisition number 202, the justification for profit is profit. They better have given you a raise for that little piece of brilliance. Ballsy move. I've seen things go bad for people that piss off IT. I'm somewhat surprised you didn't have your captive IT worker fix other things while there. I've never been in a situation where there weren't other things that IT could be doing if I had the time to deal with it. I just rarely want to spend that time or deal with their BS. At my current workplace, we also have an internal time code for waiting on it, downtime. In a case like this, that would be very useful. Computer is acting weird. Let's do a reboot and write an hour on it. Issue with the license server. Make a ticket and have the whole department write on it since we all need that software. Let's get those bonuses. On a contract. Through an agency. I was on a daily rate but worked from home. I was able to work any hours I wanted, including weekends. To make it easy to book my time, I just booked a solid 8 hours a day mon to fry. The client asked me to change this and to be precise about what days and hours I was booking, so I complied even though the total number of hours was the same. e.g. 3 hours on SAT, 5 hours on MON, etc. It was only a month or so later I realized that the agency, due to the contract being a daily rate, would self-invoice for all those days where I only worked a couple of hours. So effectively I ended up with 7 days pay instead of 5. You'd think management could have solved that issue way earlier, but the way you solved it was more satisfying. All billing was managed at a more senior level. Also known as the royalty blood-sucking parasites, executives saw how much money the serfs' employees were making, and wanted it all for themselves instead. This sort of practice has always annoyed me. It's so much administration for literally no gain to the company. No matter how many times you push the money in the bucket from one side to the other, it's the same amount of money. Then it becomes even less because it costs money to push that money from one side to the other. I promise you that this was approved by VPs because this team was a pain in the ass and wouldn't use FAQs or basic troubleshooting and would immediately call IT, who are expensive to retain quality workers. It was probably meant to encourage your management to handle their team and get them to handle some basic issues in-house. It's a leadership problem for sure. But from a VP standpoint, it pressures the employees and managers via bonus structured around internal billing and provides IT with bigger bonuses to stick around. I did that with a locksmith. He was charging me a hefty hourly fee with a 1-hour minimum. So I kept coming up with more stuff for him to do. Absolutely hilarious. If they had been made to do work for the 45 minutes as well, I would have exploded. Empty the trash bins and do some cleaning for 45 minutes. He. Something similar at a supermarket I used to work at many years ago. I was one of those people who could be slotted into any department at a moment's notice. Deli gets busy, I am put in there to serve. Huge lineup at the registers, on I go. My base department was changed to deli, but my rosters had me rostered in several different departments. A new deli manager comes in, and after a few weeks notices that her wage bill is going through the roof. But she has hardly any staff. She looks into it, and notices that while I am rostered across different departments, my wages get billed to the deli department. So, from then on, every week I would give the deli manager a rundown on where I was every day, and how long I spent in other departments. She did this with 2 other staff members who were regularly in other departments as well. And soon her wage budget dropped to where it should be. But then the service manager complained about her wage bill was creeping up. Store manager didn't care in the end, just so long as the total store wage bill stayed inside budget.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.